The average American family now spends over $11,000 a year on groceries. $11,000. And that number climbed 25% since 2020, according to the USDA and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Eggs went up over 40% in some months. Beef jumped 8 to 10%. Coffee nearly 10%. Every trip to the supermarket feels like a negotiation with your bank account. But here's what nobody tells you. There are plants that produce more calories per square foot than anything in that supermarket. Plants you put in the ground once and harvest for 20 years without replanting. Plants that multiply by 10 every single season. Plants that cost pennies to start and produce hundreds of dollars worth of food. And one plant on this list produces food that is nutritionally superior to anything in the produce aisle, and it costs exactly zero because it grows as a weed that you've been throwing away your entire life. Today I'm going to show you 20 plants that can feed your family without setting foot in a supermarket. Stay until the end because plant number 17 produces once and you harvest for over 20 years. And number 14 multiplies by 10 every single season, turning one head into 1,000 in just 2 years. Subscribe to Ancient Harvest because every week we show you how to take back control of your food with the simplest tools that exist. Here are the 20 plants to say goodbye to inflation. Number 1. Potato. The queen of calories per square foot. Solanum tuberosum. If you had to choose one single crop to feed your family, the answer is the potato. It produces more calories per square foot than virtually any other home garden crop. A single well-managed bed of 10 square feet can produce 40 to 60 pounds of potatoes. Those 40 pounds represent approximately 28,000 calories, enough to feed one person for 2 weeks on pure carbohydrate energy. You plant them with pieces of the same tuber. No need to buy seeds. One potato cut into 4 pieces, each with at least one eye, produces 4 plants. Each plant produces 1 to 2 pounds of potatoes. They store for months in a cool, dark place without electricity, without refrigeration, without processing. This is the crop that sustained Ireland, the Andes, half of Europe. A bag of organic potatoes from the market gives you the seed stock for an entire garden. The most democratic plant in the history of human food. Number 2. Sweet potato. The tropical powerhouse that needs zero experience. Euphorbia batatas. Sweet potato produces yields similar to the potato, but in warm climates where the potato struggles. It propagates from slips. You cut a piece of vine with leaves and bury it. In 4 to 5 months, you have tubers. But here's the extraordinary advantage. The leaves are edible. They're rich in vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, and protein. So every plant gives you 2 harvests, caloric tubers underground and nutritious greens above. While potato gives you carbohydrates, sweet potato gives you carbohydrates plus vitamins. It stores for weeks at room temperature. It's the plant that feeds sub-Saharan Africa, and your garden can produce it with zero experience. Number 3. Winter squash. The factory of pounds that stores all winter long. Cucurbita maxima. A single squash plant can produce 20 to 80 pounds of fruit in one season. 80 pounds from a single plant. Winter squash varieties like butternut and kabocha store for 6 months or more in a cool, dry place without refrigeration. That means the September harvest feeds you through March. The seeds are edible and rich in protein, 30 grams per 100 grams. The flowers are edible. The young vine tips are edible. It's the plant that maximizes every inch of growth. It needs space. The vines can spread 15 feet, but you can train them vertically on a trellis. One pack of seeds produces months' worth of food. Number 4. Dry beans. The protein that stores indefinitely. Phaseolus vulgaris. Dry beans are the most accessible protein source on the planet. They produce 2 to 6 pounds of dry grain per 10-foot row. They dry on the plant. You harvest them, store them in airtight jars, and they last for years. Years. Without refrigeration, without preservatives, without industrial processing. Pinto, black, kidney, navy, every variety provides approximately 21 to 22 grams of protein per 100 grams dried. Combined with rice or corn, they create complete protein with all essential amino acids. They're legumes, which means they fix nitrogen from the air into the soil, improving fertility for the next crop. The plant that feeds you also feeds your soil. It's the cheapest and most durable protein insurance that exists. Number 5. Tomato, the vitamin machine that never stops producing. Solanum lycopersicum. A single well-managed indeterminate tomato plant can produce 10 to 20 pounds or more in a season. 20 pounds of tomato from a single plant. Rich in lycopene, vitamin C, vitamin A, and potassium. You can eat them fresh, in sauce, canned, dehydrated, frozen. The preservation versatility of the tomato is unmatched. And here's the data that changes everything. The seeds from the tomato you eat today can produce next year's plants. Save seeds from your best tomato, dry them, and you have free seeds forever. The plant that reproduces itself indefinitely if you save seeds. The supermarket charges you $3 a pound. Your garden gives you 20 pounds per plant for the cost of one seed. Number 6. Zucchini, the vegetable that produces faster than you can eat it. Cucurbita pepo. Zucchini is famous among gardeners for one reason. It produces so much you literally cannot eat it all. Each plant can produce 15 to 25 fruits in a season. At 45 to 60 days from planting, you're already harvesting. Pick every 2 to 3 days to stimulate more production. You eat it fried, baked, spiralized as pasta, stuffed, in bread, in soups. And when a zucchini gets away from you and grows giant, the seeds from that giant are the source of next year's plants. 2 zucchini plants feed a family of 4 through the entire season. The vegetable that makes your neighbors lock the door when they see you coming with bags. Stop for a moment and think about this. 6 plants: potato, sweet potato, squash, beans, tomato, zucchini. Carbohydrates for energy. Protein for muscles. Vitamins for immunity. Long-term storage without electricity. Reproduction from saved seeds. These 6 crops alone can provide a family with the basic macronutrients and micronutrients to function. Hit that like button right now. Every like helps more people discover that food independence doesn't require a 100-acre farm. It requires willpower and 200 square feet. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe to Ancient Harvest and hit the bell. Every week we show you how to reclaim your food sovereignty. Now come the plants that take care of themselves. Number 7. Kale, the green that survives winter and harvests leaf by leaf. Brassica oleracea var. Sabelica. Kale is one of the few vegetables that actually improves with frost. The cold converts starches into sugars, making the leaves sweeter and more tender. You can harvest leaf by leaf, picking the bottom leaves while the upper ones keep growing. A single plant can produce for 6 to 8 months straight. Rich in vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin A, calcium, and iron. If you let it flower and go to seed, those seeds give you next year's plants for free. The green that self-renews, survives frost, and harvests continuously. Inflation charges $1 per bunch. Your garden gives you bunches for 8 months for the cost of a seed. Number 8. Swiss chard, the nutritious rainbow that never stops giving. Beta vulgaris sub-ESP. Cicla. Swiss chard is the most productive leafy green you can grow. Cut the outer leaves, and the inner ones keep growing. A single plant can produce continuously through the entire growing season. The stems come in spectacular colors: red, yellow, orange, white, making your garden look ornamental too. Rich in vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin C, magnesium, and iron. Tolerant of both heat and moderate cold. It holds up where spinach bolts and lettuce turns bitter. 2 to 3 chard plants provide fresh greens for a family of 4 for months. Number 9. Herbs, the hidden savings nobody calculates. Ocimum, rosmarinus, thymus, mentha. A bunch of fresh basil costs $2 to $3 at the supermarket. One basil plant produces bunches for months for the cost of a seed packet. Multiply that by rosemary, thyme, oregano, mint, parsley, cilantro. An average family can easily spend $20 to $40 a month on fresh herbs. 10 small herb plants in pots eliminate that expense forever. Rosemary and thyme are perennials. Once planted, they produce for years. Mint expands aggressively. One plant colonizes any available space. The most underestimated savings in a home garden aren't from the vegetables, they're from the herbs. Number 10. Lettuce and salad greens. The 30-day harvest that repeats infinitely. Lactuca sativa. Cut-and-come-again lettuce varieties grow in 30 days. You cut them 2 inches above the soil, and in 3 weeks you have another harvest. If you succession plant 1 tray every 2 weeks, you have fresh lettuce permanently. Never again buy bagged salad mix, which costs $3 to $5 for a 4-ounce bag. Grow arugula, spinach, lettuce, mesclun. A 12-inch tray produces enough salad for 4 people multiple times. A family's salad expense can exceed $80 per month. That expense can be zero. Number 11. Cucumber. The plant that produces pounds in weeks. Cucumis sativus. A single cucumber plant, trained vertically, can produce 6 to 10 pounds in a season. But if you plant 3 to 4 plants, the production is overwhelming. They start producing at 50 to 60 days from planting, and don't stop until cold weather shuts them down. Fresh in salads, in flavored water, made into pickles you preserve in vinegar for months. The seeds from a mature cucumber are saved for next year. The plant that needs a vertical string and some water to become a fresh food factory. Number 12. Peppers and chilies. The permanent spice rack from your garden. Capsicum. Peppers and chilies are perennial plants in warm climates. In cold climates, they're grown as annuals, but if you bring them indoors for winter, they produce again. One pepper plant can yield 15 to 30 fruits in a season. Red, green, yellow bell peppers. Hot chilies for salsas, for drying, for preserving in oil. Pepper prices in the supermarket have risen significantly in recent years. $3 a pound or more. Your garden gives you pounds per plant. Number 13. Onion. The base of every cuisine that grows in any corner. Allium cepa. Onions can be planted so densely that a single square yard produces 20 to 30 onions. They store for months hung in a dry, ventilated place. They're the base of virtually every cuisine on the planet. Sautéed, in sauces, in stews, in salads. And once harvested, if you let a few flower, the seeds give you next year's crop. Multiply onions by chives and green onions, which are perennials that produce indefinitely. The ingredient you use every day is also one of the easiest to produce. Number 14. Garlic. The medicinal condiment that multiplies itself. Allium sativum. 1 clove of garlic produces an entire head of garlic. 10 cloves produce 10 heads. 10 heads contain 100 cloves. 100 cloves produce 100 heads. In 2 seasons, 10 cloves of garlic become 1,000. They store for 6 to 8 months without refrigeration. They're the most valuable condiment and medicine in your garden. Imported supermarket garlic costs $4 to $6 per pound. Your garden produces it exponentially for the cost of one starter head. The crop that literally multiplies by 10 every single season. Number 15. Jerusalem artichoke. The perennial tuber you cannot kill. Helianthus tuberosus. Jerusalem artichoke is planted once and produces tubers indefinitely. It's a perennial that returns every year without replanting. Each plant produces 2 to 6 pounds of tubers. The flavor is sweet, similar to artichoke or jicama. It grows like a weed, literally. It needs no care, no fertilizer, no irrigation once established. The only caution is that it can spread aggressively, so plant it in a contained area. It's the carbohydrate factory you plant once and harvest for decades. Number 16. Corn. The grain that dries, grinds, and stores forever. Zea maize. Dry corn for grain is harvested when the ear dries on the stalk. You shell it, store it in sealed jars, and it lasts for years. You grind it into flour for tortillas, cornbread, tamales, polenta. A small plot of 100 square feet can produce enough dry corn for several months of tortillas. Combined with beans, it creates complete protein. It's the food base of all Mesoamerica for the past 6,000 years. You don't need an industrial field. You need a small, sunny space. Number 17. Asparagus. The 20-year investment you plant once. Asparagus officinalis. Asparagus is the ultimate long-term investment in the garden. It takes 2 to 3 years to establish. But once established, an asparagus bed produces harvests every spring for 20 to 25 years, without replanting, without reseeding. Every season, spears emerge from the soil and you harvest them for 6 to 8 weeks. A pound of asparagus costs $5 to $8 in the supermarket. Your garden gives you pounds every spring for 2 decades for the cost of the initial investment. The plant you pay once, and it feeds you for a quarter of a century. Number 18. Carrot. The sweet root that stores in the ground itself. Daucus carota. Carrots can be left in the soil and harvested as needed. In cold climates, frost makes them sweeter. A 3-foot row produces 2 to 4 pounds of carrots. They store in moist sand for months. It's the most kid-friendly vegetable. Sweet, crunchy, colorful. And purple, yellow, and white varieties are just as nutritious as the orange ones. Let 1 carrot flower in the 2nd year, and the seeds give you hundreds of plants. Number 19. Moringa. The fast food tree that grows like a weed. Moringa oleifera. In tropical and subtropical climates, moringa is the most productive plant you can grow. It grows 10 to 15 feet in the 1st year. The leaves contain 25 to 30% protein by dry weight with all essential amino acids, plus vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, and potassium. Young pods are edible as vegetables. Seeds are eaten roasted or used to purify water. Cut the trunk to 3 feet, and it regrows aggressively, producing more leaves. You can harvest every 6 to 8 weeks. Dry the leaves, grind them to powder, and you have a free protein supplement for the entire year. The tree that feeds entire communities in the tropics with 0 inputs. Number 20. Purslane. The edible weed that grows itself for free. Portulaca oleracea. And finally, the most revolutionary plant on this list. Purslane doesn't get planted. It appears. It grows as a weed in gardens, sidewalk cracks, vacant lots, and science has identified it as the richest terrestrial source of plant-based omega-3. Plus, it's rich in vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, magnesium, potassium, iron, and calcium. Its flavor is crunchy, slightly tart, perfect for salads. It grows in the most intense heat when lettuce gives up. It's drought-resistant because it's a succulent. It multiplies aggressively with zero help. The most nutritious food on this list is also the only one that costs exactly zero. You don't buy it. You don't plant it. You just stop pulling it out. 20 plants. Carbohydrates from potatoes and sweet potatoes. Protein from beans and moringa. Omega-3 fats from purslane. Vitamins from leafy greens and tomatoes. Long-term storage from squash, beans, garlic, and onions. Perennial crops like asparagus and Jerusalem artichoke that you plant once and harvest for decades. And a free weed that turns out to be a superfood. Inflation has no power over someone who produces their own food. I'm not saying abandon the supermarket tomorrow. I'm saying every plant you grow is money you don't spend, food that doesn't travel thousands of miles, food without pesticides, without preservatives, without the profit margins of middlemen. Start with 5 from this list. Potatoes in a bag, tomatoes in a pot, herbs on a windowsill, beans in a row, and stop pulling out the purslane. 5 crops that can cut your grocery bill by 20 to 30% this month. Leave a comment and tell me which one you'll plant first. The potatoes and their caloric efficiency, the asparagus and its 20-year lifespan, the garlic that multiplies by 10. I read every comment, and I genuinely want to know which plant will be your first line of defense against inflation. Subscribe to Ancient Harvest if you haven't already, because every week we show you how to produce real food with simple tools and ancestral knowledge. This is what we do here. Real sovereignty, real science, real empowerment. The best investment against inflation isn't in the bank. It's in the soil. See you in the next one.